I know nothing about 2007. Because when I was young, I wanted to do racing, but I had no money, so I couldn't do racing. And then I was a bit older, and I started racing. And then I heard about the Dakar, and I thought, I'm going to do the Dakar race. And my plan was to do it in 2007, and I did some practice in some early rallies with the motorbike. And then by the end of 2006, I had a very big crash. I broke many bones, I had a big brain confusion, and more or less I know nothing about 2007. I was working again after 6 months, being home on the floor for 6 months, but the things I did were okay if I read back my emails, but I don't remember anything, so I don't know anything about that time. But what I learned is that it's never the time to give up. You always have to continue, and if you really want to learn something, it's good times, it's bad times, but if you give up in bad times, you will not have anything, because everybody always will have bad times. And when I did my Dakar racing in the early years, I got lost a lot in the desert, and I can tell you, if you get lost in the desert, that's not nice, and you're really panicking. But you learn how to deal with it, and now I have more experience. I don't get lost anymore, but I still understand how it feels. But you have to never give up.
And how do you apply that to business?
I think that's quite simple. I try to get involved with many companies. I'm investing now also with a fund in Europe in companies, and I do that because I found out that I can build one company at a time myself. But I also learned a lot. And as I told in the beginning, I come from nothing, and I don't care so much about the money I have. So my goal is not to be very rich and to die with a lot of money, which is not mine. So my goal is to leave something behind. It's like to help a lot of people like you to build their company. So I'm investing more and more in companies now. And what I see is that it's about 3 things. It's the idea, it's the timing, and it's the team. And to tell you a bit about the secret, if you look at very big, successful companies, the only thing they have in common is the team. It's not about the best idea. Amazon was not the first one, that was Bookstack. When we started Booking, there were maybe 6,000 online travel agents. When Google was started, at that time, Alta, Vista, Excite, Lycos, they were all very big. And Google, nobody wanted to invest. I know some investors from Silicon Valley who said, these guys have no clue what they are doing. We're not going to invest there. And they all missed it, except 2 people, Sequoia and Kleiner Perkins, who became very famous because they invested in those 2 guys. But in the end, if you look back at Amazon, it's Jeff Bezos. At Microsoft was Bill Gates. At Google is Larry Page. At Oracle is Larry Ellison. And you can go on and on. Steve Jobs, Travis now with Uber. It's always the people that are managing the company and the team around it. And that's the lesson I also learned in doing business for 30 years now. It's not so much about the idea. The idea is important, and the timing too. Let me give you an idea. We call timing the window of opportunity. When we started building Booking and started scaling fast, it was in the beginning of 2002. At that time, in March 2002, Google introduced Google AdWords. There was no minimum bid. You could bid 1 cent, you could do an unlimited amount of bids, etc. So the cost was very low, and although the cost was low, it was difficult to make a positive ROI. But we could practice with 1 cent. And then Google introduced that you had to pay at least 10 cents. And then they introduced a lot of rules, additional rules, how it is combined with SEO, with all kinds of things, what you can do, what you can't do. If today you want to build a company like that, and you want to do it with Google AdWords, that's almost impossible, because that window of opportunity, it has closed. There is hundreds of thousands of investors in the world, and they're all investing in different kinds of companies. I think you must make sure that you like the team and you believe in the team. Then I think if you have no clue about the idea, so if you've always been in the truck industry, and at once you want to invest in self-driving cars, I don't think that's a good idea, because it's not something you can imagine. You are aware of what's happening. So I think you should know what you are investing in, the business. And you see a lot of investors are quite specific in kind of things they want to invest in, they don't want to invest. If you invest in everything a little bit, it's just spray and pray, but normally it ends up with only praying, because you might have only the wrong bets. So make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure you really talk to the people behind the idea, and you have your opinion, you're convinced that these are the best people.